You know, you wouldn't think a Disney movie could be a secret weapon for learning advanced English, but trust me, it can be. Today we're going to prove it. We're diving deep into just one scene from Zootopia, the moment Judy Hopps meets Nick Wilde for the first time, and we're going to unpack some incredible layers of language that are hiding right there in plain sight. So, here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll set up the scene. Then we'll dig into the language of confrontation, the direct stuff. After that, we'll look at the more subtle words that show what the characters are really thinking. I've also got a killer pronunciation secret that native speakers use all the time. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about why learning English through stories like this is just so effective.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this. We're inside an elephant's ice cream shop. Officer Judy Hopps, bright-eyed and fresh in the big city, stumbles upon this fox, Nick Wilde. He's trying to buy a gigantic popsicle for his, let's say, son. On the surface, it just looks like a simple moment in a kid's movie, right? But believe me, it is an absolute goldmine for anyone learning English.
So, really, what is hiding inside just one movie scene? You'd be surprised. We're talking about everything from advanced vocabulary to everyday slang and idioms to these really subtle cultural hints. And yeah, even pronunciation secrets that, honestly, most English classes never even touch. It's all just sitting there, waiting for us to pull it apart.
All right, let's start with layer one, the most obvious language in the scene. I'm talking about the straight-up conflict between the shop owner and Nick. This is where we get to see power dynamics and prejudice come to life through some really blunt, forceful commands. Okay, so the elephant who owns the shop, he does not mess around. His very first line is just dripping with suspicion. And I want you to listen really closely to the words he chooses here. He doesn't say Nick is waiting or hanging around. No, he uses a word that's way more loaded, way more accusatory. And that word is skulking. The moment he says that, he's basically framing Nick as a criminal. This isn't a neutral word at all. It's a full-on accusation. He just sees a fox and boom, he assumes the worst, that Nick is there to cause trouble. And that right there is a huge theme in the whole movie. And it doesn't stop there. The commands just keep getting harsher. The elephant tells Nick to get out, not just once, but twice. First, he throws out, "hit the road." That's already pretty informal and rude. But then he amps it up with "beat it," which is even more aggressive and dismissive. It's such a smart way for the writers to show you just how quickly his anger is building. Then he says this. And this line, well, it's carrying a lot more baggage than you might think at first. The real key is one little slang word that just colors the entire sentence with a specific attitude. He calls the place a joint. Now, joint is super casual, informal slang. But the way he uses it here, it's not just informal. It's kind of derogatory, right? It implies that any place a fox would run would be, small, maybe a bit run down. It's a really subtle but super effective put down. Okay, so we've covered the direct commands. Now let's go a level deeper and talk about attitudes. This is where we get into the really juicy stuff. The language that shows us what the characters actually think and feel about one another. We're moving past simple orders and into the world of nuance and emotion. So just when Judy steps in to try and help, the elephant turns on her and hits her with this insult, meter maid. And make no mistake, that term is designed to do one thing and one thing only, completely belittle her authority. And here's why that's so powerful. Think about it. Traffic officer, that's a respectful professional title, but meter maid, that is a loaded term. It's old-fashioned, it's gendered, and worse, it's meant to shrink her entire identity as a police officer down to just writing parking tickets. He's basically telling her, to her face, you're not a real cop. So after Judy brilliantly handles the whole situation, she turns to Nick and talks about her own feelings, about what she just witnessed. And the way she does it, she uses this fantastic idiom. It burns me up. I mean, you can almost feel the heat coming off that phrase, can't you? She's not just saying it makes me sad, or I disagree. Burns me up conveys this intense, powerful feeling of righteous anger. She's genuinely frustrated by the injustice she just saw. And then, in the very next breath, she turns to Nick and gives him this compliment. Now, it sounds pretty simple on the surface, but the specific word she chooses says so much about her and what she values. She calls him articulate. Why that word specifically? Well, think about it. Nick was just being completely dismissed and insulted, but he still managed to make his case calmly and clearly. By calling him articulate, Judy is acknowledging his intelligence, his composure under all that pressure. It's a real sign of respect. Okay, are you ready for the real hidden gem? This is a pronunciation tip that will instantly make you sound more like a native English speaker. It's something we do all the time without even realizing it. It's called the stop T. So, in American English especially, when a word ends in T, like cat, we often don't actually say that hard "t" sound at the end. Instead, we kind of stop the air in our throat right before the sound comes out. It's a super small adjustment, but wow, it makes a massive difference in how fluent you sound.
You can try it right now. Get ready to say a word like what. Put your tongue up behind your teeth, right where you'd make the T sound. Now, instead of releasing the air to say "t," just stop. Cut the airflow off. What? That little catch in your throat? That's it. It's the exact same muscle you use in the middle of saying uh-oh. That little pause is the stop T.
And Nick gives us the perfect example right in the scene. When he says, "Please don't be mad at me," listen really carefully. He doesn't say "don't" with a sharp "t" sound. He says "don't." He uses that stop T. The sound just gets cut off. And notice how he links the next words together, "mad at me," so it all flows into one smooth phrase. That right there is peak native speaker pronunciation. So, we've pulled apart all these different layers. What's the big takeaway from all this? It's simple, really. Context is everything. It's the absolute magic ingredient when you're learning a language. I mean, just think about everything we pulled out of that one tiny interaction. We didn't just learn a list of words like skulking or idioms like burns me up. We learned why the characters chose those words. We saw firsthand how language can show power, express deep emotions, and reveal what people think of each other, all inside a story that actually makes you remember it. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Language isn't just a bunch of grammar rules and vocabulary lists from a textbook. It's alive, it breathes, it's woven into the very fabric of culture and storytelling. So maybe, just maybe, the real secret to fluency isn't just studying a language, it's about diving in and living inside the stories that language tells.